Should I put my podcast on YouTube? Welcome back to the podcast marketing series collaboration with my friend Jennifer Denney, owner of Elevated Marketing Solutions. And in this episode, we are specifically addressing that question of, should I put my podcast on YouTube? Because YouTube is for videos. Jennifer, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. It is the second largest search engine and the third most visited site after Google and Facebook.
So you'd kind of be crazy to not put your podcast there.
Yep. How do we move the masses over? We need to go where everybody's at.
Exactly. Because if you are a podcaster, you know not everyone knows how to listen to podcasts yet, but most people know how to go to YouTube and find the answer to a question.
In fact, we watch over 1 billion hours of YouTube videos a day. That's more than Netflix and video on Facebook combined.
Wow, I didn't know it was that much.
Yep, it's a lot. Actually, the average mobile viewing session is 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. That shocks me.
Yep. And they're not just there to watch that you're actually doing something. They're there to listen. So remember, you're catering to your audience that likes to listen. And so they will listen to podcasts, but they haven't quite caught the buzz of where to access that podcast, but maybe they've heard of YouTube.
Right.
And did you know Google owns YouTube?
I did know that.
Yeah, but not everybody knows that. So if I place my podcast on YouTube, I personally listen to YouTube videos while I'm driving. I'm not watching that video.
Right. I hope not.
No, I'm listening to motivational stuff because we all need it every day. And that's where you need to be because everybody else is there.
Okay. Well, that answers that question, but I think we need to dive into this a little bit more.
Just a little bit.
So in a previous episode of this podcast series, which I will link to because I'm getting better at using my internal links. Yep. But we talked specifically about SEO for podcast. How does that relate to SEO for YouTube?
Remember, Google owns YouTube.
Right.
Okay. So you got to apply some of the same principles that you would have on the pages.
Gotcha.
So you have to think about the title. So think about that like title tag. Now, YouTube, though, has some different tools that you need to use for keywords on video.
Okay.
So there is a website, I think I'm going to butcher the name, but it's vidiq.com.
Okay. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. An external link.
There you go.
Getting the hang of this.
And TubeBuddy.
I love TubeBuddy. I use that for my own YouTube channel.
Yep. So you need to understand how people are searching. And then there's some other stuff. So we have to create themed playlists.
Okay.
I have topics like SEO, video, display. Those are kind of like my playlist.
Gotcha.
You might do it differently. It might be like podcast series that you kind of pull together. You need to add like relevant categories, languages, locations. These are all just like little cues to Google, like, hey, this is what we're about. This is, when people are searching, because it's the world's second largest search engine.
Right.
They need to know like what you're about. You got to add in cards. So kind of like external links and that. What do you want me to do next?
Right. So that's the end card. That's kind of leading you to the next.
Yeah. You can lead them to the next logical video that you've created. So, hey, go here next. And YouTube rewards you the longer that you can keep people on YouTube. Just like they reward you on your website, the longer that you can keep somebody there, that means they're actually answering the questions.
Okay.
Or they're actually enjoying their time on YouTube, and then they can start serving you ads.
Gotcha.
They gotta make money.
Sense. It's all about the ads.
Yeah. Well, 99% of Google's money is off of ads, if you didn't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, they're not going to ignore ads.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense now to how things are showing up. So let's talk a little bit then about the descriptions that we do for our YouTube videos. How can we be mindful of that, and what should we be including or leaving out?
So it's just got to be a mini excerpt.
Okay. You want to say that one again?
Yeah. No, I don't. Of like what I'm about to learn, knowing that Google can more easily read words than video. So they say 400 words, but I'm going to go back to, do you fully cover what you're about to talk about? You could even like do the old like rev.com and actually have it transcribed and put that into there as well. But you do need that written format on there as well. And don't forget to put that YouTube video on your website.
Right.
Because it's Google and they like that when you do that.
I didn't even think about that.
Think about dwell time.
Yeah.
On a website, like you're going to
So
spend
what
more
is
time.
dwell time? Yeah, explain that.
So that's just like how much time you're spending. And if you're spending more time in this day and age of go, 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 like what's next? What do I want to see next? That means you're enjoying what you're looking at.
Right.
Remember the 40 minutes that people are spending on YouTube?
Yeah.
You think people are, people are spending 40 minutes on Facebook. I was about to say they're not, but like they don't spend 40 minutes on a video on Facebook. I've tested that. Nowhere close.
Yeah.
Like I did like about 10 seconds on Facebook and about 25 seconds on YouTube on like a minute-long video. I kind of maxed out. And we had like a grand budget we threw towards that. So it wasn't like any, small amount of money.
Right.
But yeah.
That's interesting.
It is. It's all about the data.
Right.
We can come up with hypotheses all day long, and we can sit here and listen to what everybody else says that you should do, or you can just test it, look at the data, and make a decision about what you need to do next.
Exactly. Let's talk about Google Analytics and YouTube then. How do those two connect?
We can create audience. Well, should I explain? I'll go really quickly into Google Analytics. So it's just like collecting data on your website. Okay. I'll just leave it right there because I have a 4-week course about Google Analytics.
God. My head already hurts.
I know, right? So you can connect the listeners or viewers, I guess, because we're talking about YouTube, not podcasts, that are watching your videos, and you can remarket, or sometimes I call it the psycho ex-girlfriend feature.
Really?
Yeah, because
this is brand new.
You can follow them around the internet based on the fact that they watched your video. You bought those shoes, or you went and looked at those shoes.
Oh, and then, that stuff creeps me out when it pops up.
Yeah, well, I do that all day long. I creep you out all day long. I know exactly what you've done and all your prior history. It's kind of scary, but so let me just break that down slowly. Okay. So you have created a podcast. You have put it on YouTube. When people have watched that video, I can serve them ads all over the internet.
Gotcha.
Based on the fact that they watch that. And I do it through Google Analytics and the Google Ads platform.
Okay. You did a great job of breaking that down for somebody that like has no concept of how all of this stuff really works together.
Well, when I first started, I'd hear those words and I'd be like, okay, they just said Google Ads. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And I would just like write things down and be like, okay, and then the longer I got into this, I realized a lot of words mean the same thing. We just try to sound like we're really smart.
Gotcha.
But we just use different words and acronyms, and we just overcomplicate it.
Got it. Thank you for that simplified version and breaking it down so that even this lowly podcaster can understand it. And it gets me thinking about, how to, when I reach that point, because I have not done any paid advertising yet for any of my podcasts. But it kind of gets me thinking about, because we all want to grow our audience. That's ultimately what we want to do. And I know that we eventually will be getting into talking about paid
ads
and ads and
all the different
all
types. Yeah.
Yeah. But now at least I have kind of a more basic understanding of it. And one of the things too that I've found, because initially I was not putting the Beauty and the Gi podcast, which is the podcast that I do with my coach for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I wasn't linking it to my YouTube channel. And I thought that is ridiculous, because that is the place where people go to watch Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu videos to learn how to do things. So it only made sense that we would then put the podcast out there, because that's where our audience is. They may not know that this podcast exists because they may not listen to podcasts, but they know how to go search for jiu-jitsu videos.
Yeah, I was in a hotel room here recently, and within the TV guide was YouTube. So,
really?
Yeah, like right there, like I just saw CBS News and then YouTube.
That's crazy.
I know, it freaked me out. Like I screenshotted it. I like pulled out my phone like, oh my God, like it's right there.
Yeah.
That makes it like even more mainstream. And there's like YouTube subscription models coming up, and people are moving away from cable. They're cutting cords, and YouTube is a free source of getting that information. And we didn't even quite touch on the social media world of Facebook.
Is that its own episode?
Probably.
Okay. All right. I kind of feel like it is, because if I'm serving up content based on what questions my people are asking, and if they're specifically asking about podcast and YouTube, then that's the question that we're going to answer, because I know that that's the right thing to do now.
Very good.
I'm getting the hang of this. And truth be told, I'm getting hungry too.
Same.
Then I think we've got a great stopping point to wrap this episode up. Jennifer, where can listeners connect with you?
You can Google me, Jennifer Denney, or find me on elevatedmarketing.solutions.
All right. And you can connect with me on Instagram, because Instagram is my jam. And you will find me there at Brassy Broad Jen, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Jen Edds Brassy. And I will have a link to that in the show notes. And you can check brassybroad.com for some YouTube videos that I have on tutorials to help you with your podcast.
Yay.
Thanks for listening, friend. I'm going to ask you to subscribe to this podcast, and I'm going to ask you to share it with someone you know that needs to hear it. Thanks for listening. Now get out in the world and do some good.